Hey everyone, Eli here. This is my first video for YouTube. I'm going to be creating a set of instructional videos starting today, so I'm excited. Now, personally, I'm a designer. As a designer, I work from graphics ranging from literally sketching all the way over to a 3D architectural scopes of designs, branding, production as far as, let's say, packaging, for example. These are all things that I personally bring to the table, and something that I feel like it's going to be able to help those that I'm making this channel for. We need to be able to explain to them usually how the steps for a successful design in any venture really plays out. So what is a good design? A good design is something that's easily recognizable, something that you're going to be able to show over the course of many years, and people will understand that your look, the kind of intention and the kind of impact that you're going to leave is very important. The most terrifying thing you could do for yourself is essentially to get washed out and follow the rest of the trends. Now, what I'm not saying is you can't take some elements from other ideas. I think the most important thing that you can consider is, I need to represent me. Now, if you're a company that's already been established, but you find that your competitors are really getting an edge, chances are they're probably taking a little bit more risk than you are. And that's fine. Some people don't need to take any risk, but it's very important that you understand that risk sometimes reaches out to other people that otherwise would not be looking into your brand, even though they need your product. Are you looking for people within a specific age category, a particular gender? That factors into things like color, sometimes shapes. For women, a little bit more curves on designs. For men, a little bit more of a sharp line. Not that you can't mix or match either or, but it tends to be that kind of generality. So step number one, when a client comes to me, what do I tell them? Number one, I always put it on the page, what is your company? Once they tell me, oh, well, I do a construction company, I'm involved in animation, I sell tomatoes, anything, it doesn't matter. The first thing I need to ask them is, do they know who they're really appealing to? Before you come to me, it's vital that you know already what you need. I've had this so many times. I've had people just come straight to me and tell me, you tell me what works. Well, I mean, I can give you designs, I can give you some good ideas, but I'm not your company. It's vital that you ask yourself, who is my company? But by answering that, you need to ask yourself, who am I? How do I want to be portrayed? Color, for example. Some people go for like more powdery colors. They feel like earth tones are more them. Some people go for some high impact, royal blues, cardinal reds. But the first thing I would tell you is, who are you? Who are you trying to reach, and what are you trying to tell them? I know that you're not marketers. A lot of my clients aren't marketing. They have marketing departments, but they themselves don't come in with just, this is my plan, A, B, C. What they essentially come with me is, I got this XYZ company, now help me make it work. And I can, but it's important that you understand that having just a logo does not necessarily mean success. It's nice to have something like that, but do you have a strategy? I'm aiming for this at this date. I'm using this to help me build this so I can get to this at this date. Very rarely clients just come to me with that kind of strategy, but when they do, it is phenomenal. So strategy, it's one of the toughest things to prepare for, to be honest with you. You would call that a business model. It's what banks usually want you to send them as a proposal before getting any kind of loan. Well, we're not asking for a loan, but we're asking is, what are you going towards and how long do you anticipate this working? But all these strategies work together, from the way that you're investing. We may not need to know about that as designers, but it's important that you already know what you're aiming for and when you think you're gonna get there. Point three, very important. When you sit down with a designer, we may not ask you to do the design, but what's really important is that you have more or less a sense of what you've already seen. Concept examples. People that don't do the research don't find out, A, what their competitors are doing, B, they don't know exactly what they're going for. When you do that kind of research and you come to the designer and you tell them, these are the colors that I like, more or less. These are the styles of logos that I've seen that I like, more or less. You're giving the designer essentially an idea as to the kind of aim that you're going for. That step is so important, and it's very important that you not be indecisive and flip-flopping back and forth. Like one day you like this, the next day, take your time. Don't approach a designer with, I don't know, show me something. It's like me telling you who you are. It would be ridiculous of me to do that. You would describe who you are, and it's the same way with a company. If you're not gonna know what your company is gonna look like, chances are your designer's not gonna catch it either. Point 4 is perhaps one of the more technical aspects of this. When someone comes to me and sits down and says, Eli, I'm looking to do some kind of a concept sketch, you should be able to ask your designer to sketch something for you, just so that you would feel that this person is at least understanding the kind of look that you have. Now, all that is predicated on the fact of how clearly you are bringing to the table what you already think you would like, more or less. And I think capturing a base with my clients is usually the first step to making it work. If you're not making it work right off the bat with this designer, and this designer is struggling to capture what you want, it's time to move on. Usually it's time to move on. Second thing, typically the steps work like this. Show me the ideas that you have. We spend about an hour not only discussing, maybe looking and reviewing over some concepts that they've already looked at and that they like. Now, once you've given the time, and once you've had a chance to see what you were looking at, and you like some of the designs, he might have done one concept, maybe two concepts, and you feel like he's really nailed one, not so much the other, you should be able to give the person cues as to be able to redesign or change that. But that usually only works once after you feel confident enough that this designer really does understand, is able to flesh out something in a couple of days just to make me see that he's understanding me. I'll sit down and I'll put something together in a matter of a week. I'll tell them, give me a week to 2 weeks, depending on the size of what they're looking for me to design. From that stage, I usually give them a couple of revisions, and by a couple, it can range between 2 and 5. Now, I know some people will just do endless revisions, and you don't want to do that. You are the type of person that is not sure what they want and that they're so bent on perfection. Now we're not talking about the design being of poor quality, having to be perfected. I'm talking about it's a really nice design, but you're still unsure. And that kind of insecurity will cause you to just keep pushing the design to the point of no return, where you actually forget what you were actually even looking at the first time. Now, we all have evolving tastes, but at some point you have to decide, this is a really nice look. Just because the first time you liked it, but you're still unsure, it's okay to be a little bit unsure, but it's not okay to remain unsure. If you're unsure the first time you see the designer's work, you tell him. And if he does what you think will make it better and you're still unsure, the problem is probably not with the designer. The problem is that you're just not sure what you like. And that goes back to step 1. Do you know what you're looking for? Unfortunately, that's the point in design. It's really all about representation. Step 5, partnership. I build long-term relationships with my clients. Long-term relationships may not mean every other week I have a job. Some of those relationships can go for years, but I'm only really getting, a job every 2 months. They really don't have a high volume of demand. When you find your designer, it's so important that you look at the relationship in all this more than just what can I get out of it. I'll tell this to my clients. For some other designers, money is king. Money for me is important, like everyone else in the industry, but it's also important to keep our brands safe. If I have to do something that I feel is subpar, I'm gonna tell the client, this is subpar what you're asking for, and it's been duplicated thousands of times. I won't do it. It becomes a friendship, a professional friendship that can really pay off at the end. When they ask me for something, sometimes it's crunch time, I need something the next day, that kind of a friendship helps, because when you build that kind of friendship, they'll go that extra mile for you. That's it, guys. Those are my 5 introductory steps to anybody that's looking to hire a designer, anybody that's looking to brand, any kind of a strategy that you're going for. It's my first channel. I'm going to be targeting other things in more detail. I know this might have seemed a bit vague, some of the information. I tried to give you as much as I can, blunt, straight to the point, because you can't waste your time going around not knowing who's going to tell you what. I'm here to give you the straight information as to what you should expect and what kind of steps you're looking for when you're hiring a designer. I'd like to really be able to help the people that have all those questions. Again, if there's any other questions, you could always just put your comments below. You could always hit like, which I would really appreciate, by the way. It would be encouraging to know that these are helping people out there. And if there's anything else that you need, please don't be shy. Get in contact with me. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But I thank you for your time. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you soon.